LeBron James was signing autographs after a charity event in Akron when a security guard approached him with an unusual request. "There's an older gentleman outside who says he's your father. He's been waiting for 3 hours. Should I send him away?" LeBron froze. He hadn't seen his father in over 30 years. Anthony McClelland had abandoned him when he was a baby. And now, after 4 championships, countless records, and becoming one of the greatest players ever, the man who'd never been there wanted to talk. What happened in the next 48 hours would change LeBron's life forever. "What does he look like?" LeBron asked, his voice tight. "Older black man, maybe late 60s, gray beard, wearing an old Cavaliers jersey," the security guard said. "He's been asking everyone if they can get you to come out, says he's been trying to reach you for months, but can't get past your people." LeBron felt his jaw clench. His people, like he had an army keeping his father away. The truth was simpler and more painful. His father had never tried to contact him, not when he was a struggling kid in Akron, not when he became a high school phenom, not when he went first overall in the draft, not through 4 championships. Until now. "Tell him I'm busy," LeBron said, turning back to sign another autograph. But he couldn't focus. His hand shook as he wrote his name. The little girl asking for his signature didn't notice, but LeBron did. After 30 years, why now? What could this man possibly want? But what LeBron's father said when they finally met would force him to confront the pain he'd been carrying his entire life. 20 minutes later, LeBron couldn't take it anymore. "Where is he?" The security guard led him to a side entrance where an older man sat on a bench, head in his hands. When he looked up and saw LeBron, his eyes filled with tears. "LeBron," the man said, his voice cracking. "I know I don't have the right to be here. I know I don't deserve a single second of your time. But I had to try." LeBron stared at him. This was his father. He could see it in the eyes, in the shape of the face. This was the man who'd gotten his mother pregnant and disappeared. This was the man who'd chosen drugs and the streets over his own son. This was the man who'd left LeBron to grow up without a father, bouncing from apartment to apartment, sometimes homeless, always struggling. "What do you want?" LeBron's voice was cold, flat. "I want to apologize," Anthony said. "I want to tell you I was wrong. I want to—" "30 years," LeBron interrupted. 30 years and you never once tried to find me. Not one phone call, not one letter, not one attempt to be a father. And now you show up. Why? Because I'm rich? Because I'm famous? Because you need something?" "No," Anthony said quickly. "I'm dying, LeBron." The words hung in the air between them. This is where everything changed. Anthony's revelation about why he'd really come back would shatter everything LeBron thought he knew about his father. "You're what?" LeBron's voice softened despite himself. "Lung cancer. Stage 4. Doctors gave me 6 months, maybe less." Anthony pulled out a medical document from his jacket, hands shaking. "I'm not here for money. I'm not here because you're famous. I'm here because I'm about to die, and I need you to know the truth about why I left." "I know why you left," LeBron said bitterly. "You were a drug addict who cared more about getting high than about your family. That's what everyone told you. That's what I let everyone believe, because it was easier than the truth." Anthony's eyes filled with tears. "But that's not what really happened." LeBron wanted to walk away. Every instinct told him this was manipulation, a dying man trying to ease his conscience with lies. But something in his father's eyes made him pause. "You have 5 minutes, LeBron said, "then I'm gone forever." Anthony nodded, wiping his eyes. "Your mother was 16 when she got pregnant. I was 20. We were both kids, really. But I loved her, LeBron. I swear to God I loved her, and I wanted to be there for you." "So what stopped you?" LeBron's voice dripped with sarcasm. "Your mother's family," Anthony said quietly. "They said I wasn't good enough for Gloria, said I was trouble, that I'd ruin her life. They gave me a choice, disappear and let Gloria have a chance at a better life, or stay and watch them make both our lives hell. You haven't seen the biggest shock yet." Anthony had proof of what he was claiming, and it would turn LeBron's entire childhood story upside down. "That's a lie," LeBron said. "My mother never said anything about—" "Because she doesn't know," Anthony interrupted. "Her family made me promise never to tell her the real reason I left. They said if I truly loved her, I'd let her think I was just a deadbeat so she could move on with her life. You expect me to believe that? You expect me to believe you left because you loved us? LeBron laughed bitterly. That's the worst excuse I've ever heard. Anthony reached into his jacket again and pulled out a worn envelope. I wrote you letters, LeBron. Dozens of them. Every birthday. Every Christmas. Every time I saw your name in the paper. Your grandmother intercepted every single one. I found out years later she burned them all. He handed the envelope to LeBron. Inside were dozens of photographs. Anthony, as a young man holding a newborn baby. The baby was wearing a small Lakers onesie. That's you, Anthony said softly. You were 3 days old. I held you for 6 hours before your grandmother told me I had to leave. She said if I didn't go willingly, she'd call the police and tell them I'd stolen money from them. Said she'd make sure I went to jail and you'd grow up knowing your father was a criminal. LeBron stared at the photo. He'd never seen it before. Never even knew it existed. I was 20 years old and terrified. Anthony continued. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought if I left, Gloria would find someone better. Someone who could provide for you. Someone who could give you the life I couldn't. Hold up, don't miss this detail. What Anthony revealed next about LeBron's grandmother would rewrite his entire understanding of his childhood. My grandmother loved me, LeBron said, but his voice wavered. She took care of me. She did love you, Anthony agreed, but she also kept secrets from you. When you were 7, I tried to see you. I'd gotten clean, had a job, wanted to be in your life. Your grandmother told me you didn't want to know me, said you'd asked her to tell me to stay away. I never said that, LeBron whispered. I know that now. But back then, I believed her. And it broke me, LeBron. It broke me so completely that I did turn to drugs, because I thought my own son hated me without ever meeting me. Anthony pulled out more papers, letters written in a child's handwriting. These are letters you wrote to me when you were 8 years old. Your elementary school teacher helped you write them. Did you know that? LeBron's eyes went wide. He did remember. Mrs. Walker, his third-grade teacher, had asked if he wanted to write to his father. She'd said she'd mail them for him. He'd written 3 letters asking his dad where he was, why he didn't love him, begging him to come home. You got these? LeBron's voice cracked. 6 years after you wrote them, Anthony said. Your grandmother sent them to me after you graduated high school, with a note that said, he doesn't need you anymore. That's when I realized she'd been intercepting everything. My letters to you, your letters to me. She'd kept us apart on purpose. What you're seeing now is nothing. The reason why LeBron's grandmother did this would explain everything, and forgive nothing. Why would she do that? LeBron asked, tears now forming in his eyes. Because I'm not who she wanted for your mother, Anthony said. Because she had plans for Gloria's life and I wasn't part of them. Because she thought she knew what was best for everyone. But my mother struggled so much, LeBron said. We were homeless sometimes. We had nothing. If you were there, I tried to help, Anthony said, pulling out bank statements. See these? Every month I sent money. $100, $200, whatever I could afford. Always sent to your grandmother's address, because that's where Gloria was living. Your grandmother cashed every check and never told Gloria where the money came from. Told her it was from some church program. LeBron felt like the ground was crumbling beneath him. Everything he'd been told about his father, everything he'd believed his entire life, was a lie. Why are you telling me this now? LeBron asked. Why wait until you're dying? Because I'm a coward, Anthony said simply. I should have fought harder. I should have gone to court, demanded my rights as a father. But I was young and scared, and I believed your grandmother when she said I'd only make things worse. By the time I realized I'd made a mistake, you were in high school, already famous, already on your way to greatness. I told myself you didn't need a father who'd been absent your whole life. You won't believe this. But Anthony had been at every major moment of LeBron's life, just never where LeBron could see him. I was at your first high school game, Anthony said. Senior section, top row, wearing a hood so no one would recognize me. I was at your graduation. I was at the draft in New York, couldn't afford a ticket, but I stood outside and watched on the big screen. I've been to 47 of your NBA games. I sit in the cheap seats or watch from the concourse. I've watched you become everything I knew you'd be. LeBron's facade cracked. Why didn't you ever approach me? Because I thought you hated me. Because I thought I'd lost the right to call myself your father. Because I was ashamed of the years I wasted being angry and hurt instead of fighting for you." Anthony's tears flowed freely now. "But I'm dying, LeBron, and I couldn't die without telling you the truth. Even if you hate me, even if you never forgive me, you deserve to know that I loved you, that I always loved you, that leaving you was the biggest mistake of my life." The two men stood in silence, both crying now. "I don't know what to do with this," LeBron finally said. "I don't know how to process 30 years of anger and pain and abandonment just because you're telling me a different story now." "I don't expect you to," Anthony said. "I just needed you to know the truth before I die. What you do with that truth is up to you." It's not over yet. LeBron's decision in the next 24 hours would shock everyone who knew his story. LeBron didn't sleep that night. He kept looking at the photos, the letters, the bank statements. Everything Anthony had shown him pointed to a truth he'd never considered. His father might not be the villain in this story. At 6 a.m., he called his mother. "Mom, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Did Grandma ever keep letters from Dad away from us?" There was a long silence. Then, "How did you find out?" "So it's true?" Gloria sighed. "I found out years later, after you'd gone to the NBA. I was cleaning out Grandma's things after she passed and found a box of letters, some from your father to you, some from you to him that she'd never sent. I was so angry, LeBron, so angry that she'd kept you two apart, but she was already gone, and you were already a star, and I thought telling you would just hurt you more. He's dying, Mom. Dad is dying, and he came to see me yesterday." "I know," Gloria said softly. "He called me 3 months ago, asked if it would be okay to try to contact you. I told him I couldn't make that decision for you." "Why didn't you tell me?" "For the same reason I didn't tell you about the letters. I was trying to protect you, but maybe I was wrong." 2 days later, LeBron held a press conference that shocked the sports world. "I've spent my entire life angry at a man I never knew. Turns out, I never knew him because someone else decided I shouldn't. My father, Anthony McClelland, is dying, and for the last few days we've been talking, really talking, learning about each other. And I've realized something. Forgiveness isn't about excusing what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the anger." He paused, composing himself. "I'm choosing to spend my father's final months getting to know him. Not because he deserves it, not because it will change the past, but because I deserve to know my father before he's gone, and my kids deserve to meet their grandfather." The story went viral. LeBron's father trended worldwide. Some people criticized him for forgiving too easily. Others praised him for his grace. But LeBron didn't care about the opinions. For the first time in his life, he was getting to know his father. 5 months later, Anthony McClelland passed away in hospice care. LeBron was holding his hand. "Thank you," Anthony whispered with his last breath. "Thank you for giving me the chance to be your father, even if it was just for a little while." At the funeral, LeBron spoke through tears. "I lost my father when I was a baby, but I found him again when he was dying. We didn't get much time, but the time we had was precious. He taught me that truth is complicated, that people make mistakes, and that forgiveness can heal wounds you didn't even know you had." Years later, when asked about reconciling with his father, LeBron said, "I spent 30 years being angry at a ghost. Those last 5 months, I got to know a real person. Was he perfect? No. Did he make mistakes? Absolutely. But he was my father, and he loved me. And in the end, that's what mattered." This is Anthony's redemption. This is LeBron's forgiveness. This is the power of truth over anger.